Man, it's been a wild couple of weeks to say the least. I talked to Coach B, I believe, Tuesday night, a couple of weeks ago. Uh, Flew out Wednesday night, interviewed all Thursday. Friday, he offered me the job. I accepted it Saturday, went public on Sunday, and here I am now. So it's been a quick turnaround, a little bit of a whirlwind, but I'm super excited to be here. It wasn't an easy decision leaving the University of Virginia, but I definitely think it was the right decision. Just with Coach Bielema's track record, just who he seems to be, just as an overall guy has been really good with me and my family. So I couldn't be more excited to be a part of the Illinois family.
What was it about his track record, who he is, what you saw during the process, that gave you the comfort to do something different like this?
Yeah, I think it's just, really just talking to different people who have worked for him and just people who've known him. They all say the same things. They all say genuinely he cares about family and relationships, which is really important to my wife and obviously my little kids. So I really appreciate that standpoint. And he's been at a lot of different places. Obviously, he's been in the NFL, um, you know, being in the Big Ten for quite some time and, just doing at a high level for such a long period of time. For me personally, as a coach, I think it's an opportunity for me to grow. And there's enough coaches on this staff that have had a lot of success. And I just want to continue to further myself and develop.
Thanks, Clint.
Yes, sir.
Matt Stevens with IlliniGuys.com. Again, welcome to Champaign. Walk me through why you feel like you've had so much like you've been able to kind of progress so much in your career immediately after you retired. What kind of led you into having success kind of early on as a coach?
Wow, Matt. Man, I don't know if I've had like a whole lot of success. I think it's just steady growth, right? I mean, everything that you're doing, whether it's coaching or playing, you're just trying to get better. And I've been fortunate enough to be around a lot of good coaches and a lot of good people. So, coaching is obviously different than playing, but in the same vein, man, you apply what you learn and just try to utilize it. And I feel like I've been able to do that. By no means am I a finished product. I do believe that, I'm still learning, I'm still growing, and, hopefully there's so much more for me to develop and do over the next few years. But for me, for my family, for where we are, I think being here, part of Coach Bielema's staff is really going to help me and hopefully in turn, I help them do my part in helping us compete for Big Ten championships.
Did you know, like, when you were done that this is what you wanted to do, was coaching what you wanted to kind of transition to? Or if I'd have asked you as a player, do you want to coach, would you have said absolutely not? That doesn't interest me.
Yeah, I wasn't going to coach. That's for sure. That wasn't something on the forefront of my mind. I obviously, I wanted to have a long career in the NFL, like most guys who come out of college, and I thought I had the ability to, but the man upstairs had different plans for my life, and I think initially it started with me trying to stay connected to the game because the game was so good to me as a player, and I just really enjoyed it. And I think as I started to immerse myself in it, I really appreciated the relationships that you can establish with players. I appreciated the opportunity to help grow young men and make an impact. I think I'm a competitor by nature. I think football is the most competitive sport you could participate in. So there's a lot of good things about the game that helped me grow. And now that I'm in this position as a coach, man, I want to be able to give it back to, guys who are in similar situations or worse or even better. So
Thanks, Clint. I
Hey,
appreciate
Clint.
it.
thank you.
Hey, Clint. Joey Wagner with the Illini Inquirer. Welcome to Champaign.
Thank
What
you.
were your impressions of Aaron Henry as a young coordinator? Why was he a guy that you also wanted to work with along with Brett?
Yeah, man. Coach Henry's been great to me and my family from the time that I came here to interview, or even prior to that, we had a conversation. And he was just telling me a little bit about Champaign and Coach B and just his relationship with him. And he's been awesome. Obviously everybody's still learning each other, but like, super smart, I had a chance to sit in on a meeting yesterday with the defensive staff, and man, he was really passionate and really fired up. And I was sitting there taking my notes, and I was getting excited myself. So it's clear he's a leader of men. It's clear that, you know, these players are going to play for him. And, you know, I'm just happy to be a part of the staff and do whatever I can to help him be better in his role. And at the same time, as I mentioned, you know, help this program compete for a Big Ten championship.
And maybe a two-parter, but how do you feel like you can help elevate that outside linebacker room? And I know it's been a whirlwind, but have you been able to form any quick or impressions on those guys, whether it be seeing them around or even in film?
Yeah. Well, you probably have to ask them if I formed any impressions. But you know, it's been good. It's been good. Drinking out of a fire hose a little bit as far as trying to build relationships. And you know, I think relationships do take time. I think it takes time. I think it takes detail, and then I think it takes trying to build trust. So that's really all I'm trying to do, man. I was very upfront with those guys when I first got here, and I said, hey, look, I don't expect you to trust me from day one. You don't know me very well, but I did tell them I'm committing to building a relationship, and you know, I'm here to service them. So, you know, hopefully over time, you know, we'll continue to grow and develop. But man, they are a talented group. They've had some good coaches here before, you know, just kind of doing my evaluations and watching film, but they're big, they're long, they're talented. And as a group, they're really, really athletic. And so far from what I've seen from them, they really love football. So I'm excited and fortunate to be able to coach that group.
Thanks, Clint. Great to meet you.
Thank you.
Hi, Coach. Doug Bouchon from Orange and Blue News on
Hey,
the
Doug.
Rivals Network. So obviously, I have to ask you about recruiting. You know, what are some of those qualities that you think you bring to the table and to the staff as a recruiter? And are there some specific regions or areas where you've focused in the past and made some good connections on the trail?
Yeah. No, that's a good question. I would say, you know, for me, everything is going to be relationship based. And I think when you're recruiting to a university like Illinois, you know, there's really a lot to sell. There's a lot of history here. You know, obviously we're in the Big Ten. Coach Bielema, who I've said a number of times, has won at multiple institutions. So there's a lot to speak about specifically to this university. For me personally, you know, I've been on the East Coast, a lot of my recruiting trails. I've been in New Jersey. Obviously, I've been in Virginia, spent some time in Baltimore, and you know, I was down in Georgia as well. So I think that's where I'm going to start off. And like I said, man, as best as I can, trying to build organic relationships and, you know, just get people to embrace really what I'm starting to figure out is the culture here about family and just about, you know, the student athlete as a whole. So I'm excited. I still wear orange and blue, but it's a different orange and blue. But I am super excited to get out on the road and represent this university.
It is a busy time of year for recruiting with, you know, official visits and all that kind of stuff. Have you jumped right into that and start calling a lot of kids, contacting a lot of kids?
Yeah. I think I believe it went public on Sunday, and I made a call to about two kids, so which was unique, and you know, just trying to sell myself as far as, hey, you know, as was mentioned, man, I left a place that was near and dear to my heart to come to the University of Illinois, and I didn't do that lightly, but the belief was that there was really something special here that I wanted to be a part of, and just trying to convey that message to the young men I'm recruiting, and you know, hopefully, definitely be able to see him soon, and then try to further that relationship, and then long term, obviously, you know, get him to come join this program.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coach Bob Osmondson with the News Gazette here in Champaign. When you played Illinois back-to-back games a couple of years ago, did you ever imagine being here as a coach?
I'd be lying if I said I did. I did not, but I know, you know, I was part of a back-to-back cycle where Virginia and Illinois played once when Coach Mendenhall, and then one with Coach Tony Elliott. And one thing that you saw on tape in both years was how physical they were on defense and how hard they played on defense. So you always admire different programs when you cross over. You know, I always flip over to the other side and, you know, kind of see what some people are doing, man. And that stuck out to me. But, you know, I wouldn't have thought that in a few years, this is where I'd be. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm super thankful and excited to be a part of this program.
Are you instantly obligated to root for the basketball team here, or can you kind of let that slide for a while?
We just won the Big Ten. I mean, I saw it yesterday. So somebody asked me, said, "Well, are you rooting for Virginia or are you rooting for Illinois?" I'm always going to be an alum of Virginia, and I'm a proud alum of Virginia. But right now, I'm a big supporter of Illinois basketball, and I had a chance to watch them win it the other night, which was huge. So hopefully, you know, the football team can do that here in the near future.
Thanks, Coach. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Coach, it's Scott Beatty, WDWS Radio here in Champaign. And what specifically can you share about goals you have for your position group, or you know, maybe the broader goals that you've been already talking about as a defensive staff?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that's something I got to sit down and really think about as far as, you know, tangible goals. I know one thing that I am going to be focused on is trying to build relationships with them. And I know that doesn't necessarily correlate to, you know, direct production, but I think if you can establish a genuine relationship with somebody and they know that they care about you, I think you'll get more out of them. So I'm trying to do that. Obviously, I'm trying to learn our scheme and then try to coach it as effectively as I can. But I would say immediately what I'm trying to do, not just with my players, but with everybody within the organization, is just try to be genuine and build a relationship.
That certainly makes sense. And obviously you as a position coach fit into a philosophy and a scheme of the coordinator and of the head coach. But is there something that you felt was already in alignment from a football perspective?
Schematically, there's some similarities. You know, I played at Virginia and I played in a 3-4 defense. So I played that outside linebacker position. So there's some things that they do that I've done as a player. You know, I learned a lot of ball from Coach Al Groh, you know, who coached a bunch of guys at that position. And then, you know, just obviously over time, I've learned from different people. So there is some similarities as far as what they've already been taught. And I'm sure as we continue to develop it and grow, and I grow in this role, there'll be other things that I can help on. So as for right now, what those are, I wouldn't feel comfortable saying it without necessarily knowing exactly who they are and how well they perform in certain things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Clint, I just had one follow-up. I know you had talked about Brett Bielema and his history in helping coaches develop and just kind of his family message, but was there in this quick process like a moment or a conversation you had with someone that you thought, you know, this is going to be a hard move, but I can't pass this opportunity up? Anything that sticks out in your mind?
Yeah, you know, I've reached out to mentors, you know, people I really confide in, and just kind of shared, hey, this is where we are as a family. And, you know, everybody that I talked to said nothing but great things about Coach Bielema. So that always reassures you. I think one thing that Coach did, or he does, even throughout this process, Coach would take time to reach out to me just to check in. You know, my schedule say I get to the hotel at like 10 o'clock. I get a text from Coach B at like 10:05. Hey, just seeing if you made it to your hotel. Hey, you know, hey, just checking in to see how your wife's doing. Hey, I know you're flying out. Just want to make sure just little things like that just shows consideration, and him just taking the time to kind of make sure throughout this process I'm doing okay. And you know, those things resonate, you know, because obviously the head coach has 1,000,001 things to do, but just to take time and try to make sure that as I adjust, he's checking in is appreciated because he doesn't really have to do that. So I look for things like that. And I do hang my hat on those things because I do think those things matter in the long term, just as far as, building genuine relationships.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks,
Clint.
Good stuff. I appreciate it, guys. Have a good day.